Hey everybody, it's Chris, and today we're actually going to get into the editor and start working with Unity to make our short film. Specifically, we're going to talk about kitbashing today, and I'm going to show you how I kitbashed the main character, Jamey, to get him to where he is in the clip that I'm about to show, which is the current version of shot 1, which is our establishing opening shot of the short film. So I'll just go ahead and play that now so you can have kind of a frame of reference. So enjoy.
You're up, Rust Bucket.
Commencing scan. No threats detected.
Lovely. Alright, old timer. You take tunnel 2. I'll take tunnel 1.
Okay, so as you can see, you know, Jamey has a gun and he has a helmet with a breathing mask apparatus, and the model that we use, that is an Adobe Fuse model, does not have those things. So we are going to kitbash that all together by combining aspects of a couple of different models that you can find online for free for commercial use at Sketchfab, links in the description, to make what you see in that finished piece. So we're going to jump in a couple of seconds into the editor to do that, but just a little bit of information about kitbashing itself. If you're not familiar with the term, it comes from special effects houses, especially in the 70s and 80s and the 60s. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, is one of the most famous, of course, and all of Star Wars, A New Hope, and most of Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, everything was kitbashed, from literal models, kit models that you could buy of like World War II airplanes from your hobby store, and trash they found lying around. So they really popularized kitbashing to create amazing, beautiful things, and we still do it today, both in real world prop making and also in digital stuff like you're going to see today. So that is a brief overview of what kitbashing is. I'll have a link in the description if you want to know more about the history of it, because it's fantastic to see how some of the special effects and the models in your favorite films were actually made from just stuff they found lying on the floor. So very cool. Link will be in the description for that. But today we're going to be doing some digital kitbashing over in Unity, so let's just jump into that right now. Okay, as you can see, we have a new project in Unity. This is the just 3D with extras, and not high definition or light render pipeline, just because they've been super buggy and I haven't been able to really make much progress with them. So we're just going to stick with the normal 3D with extras, which is actually fantastic as well. They made the Atom demo and a lot of other amazing stuff with this pipeline, so it's not like you can't get fantastic quality out of it. So first thing you can see is they have the default kind of stuff in here, just the default assets, if you will. We don't need any of those. We're just going to pop that up there because we want game to be in the top, and we can just get rid of that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those. We can leave the directional light, main camera, and post-process volume in there, although we want to turn the volume off because we don't need that right now. So what we're going to do is kitbash our character, Jamey. So the first thing we need to do is create a couple of folders over here in the project tab. You don't have to do this, but I like to do it because it keeps things organized, and I like to be as clean as humanly possible. It makes things easier later down the road. So the first thing we want to do is click on assets and then click create folder, and we're just going to make a characters folder. We already have a materials folder, which is where materials live. Imagine that. But we do need a textures folder, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here we go, because Jamey, the textures for Jamey will be separate from his model, and we need a place for those to live. So that's why we have created those. Okay, now we just need to import all of the stuff we need to actually kitbash Jamey. Links for all of that stuff are in the description. I have already got them downloaded, so I'm just gonna come over here. And as you can see, we have Armadura helmet, Empire of Future, Jamey, realistic human eye, and the textures I mentioned earlier. Jamey is, of course, the character that we're working with. Specifically, we're going to be working with biker jacket walking.fbx, which is this one right here that's highlighted. So we're going to be pulling that into our character folder just like that, and it will import him. It takes a couple of seconds for that to happen. When things take a little bit of time, I will be speeding them up. That was pretty short. So now you can see down here that we have a lovely weird ass looking gray transparent thing. That's just because sometimes it isn't pulled in correctly. So we will get back to him in a moment. Let's go on and pull in the rest of our stuff. So we need all of these. We're just gonna pull them in folders and all into characters. We're gonna let that process for a second. Okay, so all of our assets have been imported. You can click here and see it's a little weird looking. We're gonna fix that in a moment. So the last thing we need to do is import the textures for Jamey. So we're going to just go ahead and click and drag this into our textures folder and let that process. Okay, now we have everything we need to kit bash Jamey. So the first thing we want to do is actually grab Jamey and drag him into the editor here. I want to reset his position so that he's in the center. And if we zoom in by double clicking on him, you can see he looks kind of weird. So let's fix that really quick. The reason that that is that way is because the materials did not come with him, as you can see. So what we need to do is hit extract materials. It'll ask us where we want those, and we put them in the aforementioned materials folder. I'm going to go ahead and make a folder named Jamey, just so I can know the materials are his in case there are materials with the same name later on, which sometimes happens. So we choose that, and it's going to process and pull all of those materials out of the model. And now we can see we have body mat, bottom mat, shoes mat, and top mat. So if we go over to the materials folder, you'll see that they are now there. So if we click on body mat, you can see the problem right here is that the rendering mode is set to transparent. So if we make that opaque, you can see it immediately looks a lot better. You can't see through his head anymore. So we need to do that for all of these mats. You can click them all at once and go here to transparent and hit opaque, and now they render correctly. It's still just a white mannequin. His textures aren't there yet, so we're going to address that now. As you can see, it says standard, and you have all these different maps: albedo, metallic, normal, height, occlusion, detail mask, etc. So we need to fill those out for each of these materials, and that is what we are going to do next. We go over here to albedo, and in here we just put biker, and you can see that all of the biker jacket stuff comes up, and we want biker jacket body, and already he looks way better. So we just want to go through all of these. I want to do biker jacket booker, biker jacket metallic. We'll fix how shiny he is in a moment. We need the normal map. So biker jacket body normal. Sometimes when you import your normal map, Unity doesn't identify it as a normal map, and if that happens, it will actually tell you right here, and it'll have a button that says fix, and you just click it and it'll take care of it altogether. So that might happen when you import yours, and if it does, don't worry, Unity will take care of it. So we go over here to occlusion, and you can see it's the top one, and that is it for this. So now, as you can see, Jamey is a little oily here, and that's not good for us. So there's a couple things we can do. We can keep metallic alpha and just pull that down to something that looks better, depending on how you want your character to show up. Or you can change that to albedo alpha and kind of do the same thing. They give you a little bit different look, each one. I like albedo for skin, so that's a little better. His hair is a little shiny still, so let's do that for now. So this is how you fix that material problem and give them all of their skin and everything. So I'm going to go ahead quickly and fix the rest of these. I'll probably speed up the time because it's exactly the same for everyone, and you don't want to sit here and just watch me fix that. So I will see you guys at normal speed again in 1 minute. Okay, now we see we have Jamey kind of laid out, at least in the default setting. and you will immediately notice a couple of problems. The first of it is that his eyelashes are all funked up here, and that is just because they need to be transparent where the rest of the model does not, and since we have it set to opaque, they look like this. So we're going to fix that really quickly by creating a new material. So if we click on Jamey, we go create material. We're going to name this one Eyelashes. And we're just going to go ahead and put all of the same body images there because the body images are where the eyelashes are. We're just going to fix it in a little minute to make it transparent. So go ahead and biker body metallic, biker body normal map, and then occlusion. Okay, so we have the new material set up and it is set to transparent. All we need to do now is add it to the eyelashes because they still have the old material applied to them. So let's go ahead and click, and you drag, and you just drag it on there, as you can see. And we now have some way better looking eyebrows. So the thing we need to do now is find the right setting, fade or transparent. It kind of depends on the model. And so as you can see, the right one for us was fade. So now he looks way better. It's still a little weird with the reflection, so I'm going to pull that all the way down so they're not quite as shiny reflecty, and that is practically perfect. The other thing you will notice is his eyes are terrible. So we are going to get rid of those eyes and put our own in, and this is the first place we were actually going to kitbash our friend Jamey. So you will notice that in our characters we pulled in realistic human eyes. So that is what this is. It looks terrible right now, again, because the materials aren't set up. So let's use embedded materials. And you can see we have eyes and standard. So what we need to do is actually go and set the, apply that. And then we need to set these up. So eyes is where all of the images will be. So go ahead and go to eyes, and you'll see eye color, eye specular, eye bump. Those are the three we need. So eye color goes there, and you can see now we have our eye color. We go to normal map, which is what the bump is. You can tell a normal map because they're this bluish purple color. So click that, and you can see now it's all veiny and bumpy. And then we need to do the specular. So you can add it to the occlusion if you want, or you can change this to standard specular, which is what we're going to do. We're going to remove that. Okay, and then we're actually going to specular and adding that. So it makes it a little nicer, see? So it's going to have a little gloss because your eyeball is a little glossy. So now we need to go to AI standard 3, and this is going to be kind of the lens look. It's completely clear that goes. So there's no images or anything. All we need to do is go to the albedo, and we need to make that completely transparent. Okay, and we need to change this to transparent, and then we want to add we want to keep that down, sorry, and make that smooth this all the way up so it is shiny. And now if we look at the eye, you can see it is much more of what we would expect an eye to look like. And now we can add it to our friend Jamey. So if you look here in the sample scene hierarchy, you'll see biker jacket walking. There's a little disclosure triangle. You click that, and you can see the bits that make up Jamey. So for instance, here are the eyelashes. You can turn them on and off. Default, for whatever reason, the eyes come in as default. So we are just going to change that to eyes so we know what it is. And turn that off for now. So now it looks freaky as hell, but that's the first step to actually getting a decent eye in. So we drag that game object in. It needs to be around 30 in the scale to match Jamey's scale. So we go ahead and do that. And then something I've learned that's a really good trick is if you can see the eye is way in the wrong place. So to fix that, we just take the eye and we drag it and we drop it on this top part of Jamey. If you try to drag it anywhere else, it won't, because it's a prefab, which is a bunch of stuff cobbled together, but this is adding it to the prefab. So you just drop it on this first line. And now it's inside of Jamey's model. So all we need to do now is go up here and say reset position. And now it will be at his feet, which is fine. It just means it's actually in a better place. So now, if we go up here, you can see that there is the eyeball. So we just can drag it in there, and we need it to be obviously more forward. So you can just keep positioning this until we have it where we want. I'm gonna do this, double click on that, and it goes in there zoomed. So just pull that up a little bit. And then if you click this little X, you'll get the side view. You can pull that up and just keep playing with it until we get it exactly how we want. So let's just go with that for now. Okay. And you can see that's a much better look than what he had before. So that is one eye, and then we duplicate it by Command D. We can just move this over, and now we have the other eye. It needs to be positioned a little bit better. So clicky, and then clicky. And he has eyes. So now they're inside his model, so if he moves, they will move with it, but it needs to be connected to where the eyes actually should be. So the first thing we need to do is go to Mixamo, rig hips, and then open it up, and then you'll see spine. Open that one, spine 1, spine 2, neck, head, and now you have left eye and right eye. So we just need to drop these into left eye or right eye, depending on which they are. So here's left eye. You see that's that one. So let's just drag and drop that into left eye. And so that's now part of the left eye. We'll need that later when we want to animate his eyes and all of that nonsense. So here is the right eye. So I'm going to drag that in there. All right, so now anytime his head moves or his body moves, that will move correctly with him. And there's a lot more we can do. We need to fix his head is down a little bit, and we need to move the eyes down some, but that's what we'll do later. We're just focusing on kit bashing. So if you've been following along, congratulations, you just kit bashed your first model by replacing the eyes with a better version. So that's awesome. But we're not gonna stop there. So okay, so the next thing we need to do is add the helmet to Jamey. So we need to go into the characters and find Armadura helmet and open that, and you will see that there is inside of source the model itself, and then there are the materials that make it look real and all of that nonsense. As you can look at them here, it doesn't have any of the images applied. We're going to do that in a moment, but we do have all of the materials themselves. So the first thing we want to do is bring this out, drop it. We're going to reset its position, and it's fairly close to the size of Jamey already, which is nice. So we're going to be playing with the size a little bit once we have it all modeled out and all of that, but for now that's good to go. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of the stuff we don't need, which is everything other than the helmet itself. So the first way to do that is to go and right click on that and unpack prefab completely. This allows us to delete these pieces we don't need. So we don't need this, so we can just go and delete that. We don't need that, and we don't need that. So we can delete those. Go through, we don't need those. Let's get rid of that. And we don't need that. Delete. So we do need that. We do need that. We need that. But we don't need that. So now we're down to just the pieces we need, which is Casco 1, Casco Arriba 1, and Cosas Casco. So these three are the pieces of the model we are going to be kit bashing onto Jamey. And so we need to go and find the materials that correspond to those and build them out so that it looks correct. Let's double click on that so we can get a good image of it. And then we're going to go down here to materials, and you can see the materials correspond to the names exactly. So the first one we need is Casco 1. And we're going to go here, click albedo, and we're going to search for that, which we find here, and start filling this out. So I'm going to speed this up again until we get to something new, which is emissions. And I will see you back at regular speed in a couple of seconds. Okay, so now we're going to do something a little new, which is emissions. Emissions are like glowing parts of your model, and this has those. So if you look, in the textures here, you can come down to Casco stuff. You have Casco 1 emissive, and you can see it's primarily dark and black, except for these orange pieces that stand out. Those are the pieces that will be glowing when we actually add them to the helmet. So let's do that now. Go back up here, click on Casco, and you will see when we hit here, we have emission. That's a checkbox. It has a color you can mess with if you want, but because we have an image to handle our emissions, we don't need to do that. So just hit that button and we come here to Casco and you'll see emissive. And the moment we do that, you can see that they kind of glow. So that is adding those. And that is done for that one. So I'm going to speed up again as I fill out the materials for the other two pieces of the helmet. So I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, so we now have everything plopped in. As you can see, our helmet has been completely kitted out, and now we just need to get it onto Jamey. So the process for that is pretty much just like we had with the eyes. So we're going to grab this, open up that part, and we are going to drag and drop this into his thing. We're gonna go a little further, so we're gonna go to the head. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it on top of the head. So now we have that stuck on his head, and we're just going to grab it. And there we go. And start getting it in the right spot. So the easiest way to do that is to come up here, and you can use these to move around, or you can just use the handles at the bottom. And we will probably have to change the size of this a little bit, because since Jamey is a caricature, his head's a little bigger than his body. So first thing we need to do is just get this in the right general area. So if we like that, which is fine for now, we now have that kind of kit bashed onto him. I think I'm going to move it just a little bit more. A little forward on his face. Up a little bit so his head's not coming out. Alright. It's okay. You can see it's kind of, his skin's peeking out through there. This is part of the process of the kit bashing. Unfortunately, you got to keep kind of moving things around until it fits correctly. So just come down here. Now it's time to maybe make this a little bit bigger. And that drops a little bit better on his head, I think. And you can see we now have the helmet onto Jamey. He has his new eyes and all that stuff. So if we go over here, turn the post-processing volume back on, a little bit nicer now. And you can see we have the character kit bashed. The one thing we want to do is add a breathing guard kind of gas mask piece, which we are going to find in Empire of Future. So we just go ahead and grab him. So the last thing we want to do is put the breathing guard kind of gas mask component onto the helmet to finish it out. So we're going to find that in Empire of Future gun. We don't need any materials because we're going to create our own material for it. We just need the model itself, the mesh. So let's go ahead and go back to scene, and we're going to grab Empire of the gun and drop it there. Go ahead and reset the position and all that nonsense. All right, he's a little small, so let's make him what? A little bit. So we're going to go over here. He's a little bigger than Jamey. We'll fix that in a minute because we don't need anything but the pieces for his helmet. So we need helmet and mouth. So we want to do what we did before, which was go to Empire of the gun and unpack prefab completely. And then find helmet mouth and go ahead and drag that out of that model. And so now if we just do that, you can see we have just that piece there, which is perfect. we're going to go back to our materials folder and create a new material. We're going to call this transparent. And then we're going to come over here and change this to transparent, and then like that, and then come over here and change this all the way down like that. Now we can go ahead and drag and drop this onto our mask, and now you can see that it's a little gas mask breathing thing. And this is what we wanted. We want to be able to see his face through it, obscure it a little bit, but transparent is what we want. So now we just need to bash that into Jamey. So we're going to do what we have previously. We're going to go open this up, and we're going to drop it into the helmet itself, and then we're going to reset its position and pull it down, and then zoom in because it's way too big now, obviously. So let's just do this. Let's do 2. See if that's correct. And again, I'm going to reset its position. See, it's down there now. Let's just lift that up. It looks pretty good. So let's get that in a bit more. So pull that back. Probably a little too far in. So we are going to just get out there. And then, all right, a little high still, so pull it down. Okay, that looks good for now. Let's come over here to the game, and yeah, so it's now on there. You need to tweak this until it is exactly what you want, but this is essentially how you kitbash Jamey, as we will see him in the film itself, especially in the first opening shot when he needs this gas mask helmet kind of thing. So yeah, that is it. He is now ready to drop into a scene or build a scene around him, which is what we would actually be doing. And you have just successfully kitbashed your first model. Okay, that's it for me. It was important to get all of this stuff out of the way now so that we can just roll hard in the next videos into the murky depths of doing all of this stuff. So in the next video, which will be Sunday, a week from yesterday, we will go ahead and set up the set for the opening shot that you saw at the beginning of this video, and really get into the meat and bones of putting the cameras together and using Cinema Machine and Timeline to manipulate multiple cameras and all of that. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down. It's fine, we'll hold it against you. If you haven't subscribed, please do, so you'll know when the new videos hit. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments and I will do my best to get to them as soon as possible. So until I see you in the next video, have some fun. Go kitbash the crap out of stuff. Sketchfab is a great place to find really good, high quality models that you can just do almost anything you want with. Just make sure you check the license, that it is commercial use. And if you do use something, you have to give attribution. So be a good citizen, do that. But go kitbash the crap out of stuff, and I will see you in the next video.